coastline is the decider should we eventually get there. OrgLess trying to make a statement for themselves. You know, they said they wanted an org. You take down the community, I guess, decided best team in NA. It's a good statement to make to grab an org to pick you up. And
apparently from that video we saw self-proclaimed Team USA as well.
Yes, yeah. Yes, gotcha. Proclaiming Evil Geniuses as the community Team USA.
Might be a bit embarrassing for them if they end up dropping this match, yeah?
Losing quarters, grabbing a map. A rough one for you, boys.
We'll see if that ends up being the case. Both of the attacker bands come out, and it's going to be Maverick and Glaz once again getting removed from the pool, as we're about to see our first defender band come out as well.
Yeah, Mav, Glaz, and now Maestro, so we're keeping almost similar to the bands of Oregon. Now, if Mira is left alive on Villa as well, I'll be a little shocked. I think Villa plays entirely different when you have a Mira on the board or not. Oregon is kind of, it started out initially when the Mira bands started coming out, that you played it very atypical, and Echo ban once again, so we're going to leave Mira on the board. Villa has an alternate playstyle when Mira is left in. It's usually the aggressive roam game that'll save you on Villa when there is no Mira, but now you have that that comfort pick, that luxury to fall back on the objective, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for EG to battle out of this. We've seen their expert play, like you said, only once on Villa against SK. Well, now they are Dark Zero. We've seen it once, and it was a great play from them, but they also insta-banned Villa for the entirety of that season. So the practice, while it may be there in scrims, has not been there in evident public games that we've seen.
It's still a little bit of an uncomfortable pick you might be able to reckon for them, or potentially guess at, but considering it's directly picked into this series, that might be changing. They might be factoring it into the pool now for the new patch, and we'll see if that'll remain the case, obviously, as this match will be a good stepping stone to tell if that is going to be indeed the case, if EG are looking to bring this more so into their map pool, or if it's something they're just looking to bring out on special occasions.
Hopping into round one, we're going to head to an Aviator and Games Room defense to start things off from Evil Geniuses, so mirroring the first map as well. Defense starting out on both maps between Oregon and Villa for EG. No Mira being brought out, even though it is available to them. So that's an interesting point as well. Maybe they were game planning for a Mira being banned, and yet they're going to play without it regardless of it being available to them or not. The Aviator and Games Room is usually our starting point on a lot of Villa maps. The rotation will usually go Aviator Games and then to Trophy and Statuary, and then downstairs to Kitchen, should we have consecutive defensive wins. And Villa is a map that's gone back and forth. I think it started out pretty defender heavy, and then it maneuvered towards the attacker side a bit, and now it's leveled out. And I think that's just the case of it being a newer map. You start out on your attacking clears, you're going to be slower. Then people start getting the hang of the map, and the attacking side starts winning. So I'm interested to see how much work as well OrgLess has put onto this. We've talked about them being a newer team with newer members to the roster, how much work they've possibly brought in from former teams on Villa. We talked about Mo and Gotcha formerly being on DG together. And Gotcha moved to EG, and that's when they pulled out the Villa strat against Dark Zero in the Pro League week. So maybe there's a little bit of history there. Maybe Mo is reading the back pocket of Gotcha.
The other thing with this map as well is it's a very, very large map to play off of. So there's, as you were mentioning, a lot of potential for roaming players to be able to catch a lot of attacking players that may not be watching their flanks and things like that. It makes for a very, very interesting playstyle overall. I'm excited to continue to see this play out now as EG are going to look to recover themselves on this map. Starting off on the defending side once again, which is where they found quite a bit of success for the most part. Back on our first map, but we're just unable to close out on that attacking side. However, for the players on OrgLess, making a lot of progress early on, already with decent control over the first floor. And Buck starting to do a little bit of redecoration underneath of the site to see if they can catch anyone early on here.
A lot of destruction coming up from down below, as that's Yeti and Acid will grab the first pick onto NVK, still outside, so maybe NVK looking to get a little jealous with the windows. We are going to see Canadian looking for something. Oh, with the Nitro Cell, but he's going to miss the toss. Thankfully, it's within range for him to pick it back up pretty quickly.
Ready.
He is going to be able to recover that to try it again, should he feel the need to. Meanwhile, still a little bit of droning needing to be done for the attacking team on OrgLess here, as they're going to look to try and move in early on. Unfortunately, that's going to prove to be a little bit more difficult now that they moved up to the second floor. Players like Gotcha trying to lurk back around and cut them off in the main hallway. Unfortunately, it's going to be caught by Brian. He'll back up to the steps and continue to wait out. We'll see that aggressive push move forward again from EG.
Refire's coming around the corner at Gotcha, and you see the impact tripping coming on the far side of the bar wall. The close side has now been opened up partially by Crazy, but you're going to have to prone and stick your head through that first, and that's not going to be a very winnable gunfight to take if you're an attacker trying to prone through there. So an easy hold there. Necrox going to shred through Crazy with the SMG-11. The Nitro Cell getting caught by Canadian on the top rafters. Not paying attention was Necrox as the flank comes in from Brian through the study doorway, and now Yeti attempting to prone through. He's going to think better of it and maneuver towards that study and aviator door. Still holding the backside is Acid, and the 4v3 advantage here for OrgLess as they descend in towards the objective. But the utility from Evil Geniuses holding out. Yeti with a great shot. Gotcha will trade one back onto Acid now as they have a little more study control. Yeti shredding the flank of Gotcha. Now Canadian coming for the flank. Mo rips them through with the 5-5-2. And OrgLess continue the trend. 5 straight rounds for OrgLess.
They got the momentum going in their favor now. There was a little bit of trouble getting control over classic calls we were seeing in the mid-round there. That was really the only problem they had, as they were trying to wrap back into games room through the primary door. But besides that, very solid push coming out from OrgLess. The redecoration being done pushed, I think, quite a few players from EG out of position and allowed for some easier kills when they were finally ready to execute.
Once again, EG on the defensive side having their issues to start things off, and upstairs has been a point of contention. I think you try it one more time in Aviator games, but we've seen all 4 bomb sites inside of Villa be used before. It's not like Oregon when there's only 2 viable. There's 2 more preferred bomb sites, but we've seen every single site on Villa be used successfully before. So I think there's a little bit more maneuverability there for Evil Geniuses to try and flex things up and try and slow down OrgLess. You know, we saw them come out the gates a little bit slow on Oregon as far as their pushes, really sending it down to those last 20 seconds. So you can try and replicate that again, just instill a little bit more fear into OrgLess, make them stand back on their heels a little bit more instead of firing straight towards the objective. You probably have a lot more success.
And I think that might be what we're seeing with the 6th pick from Canadian as well, swapping for the pulse over to the Vigil to potentially open up a little bit more roaming potential for him personally to try and deny such easy control on the first floor like we saw from OrgLess in the first round.
So a reattempt now from Aviator in Games Room, and study control from OrgLess in the midpoint of the round was really the deafening blow that OrgLess dealt to Evil Geniuses on that round. Typically don't contend study too much, but you have to be ready for those doorway walk-ins, and Necrox was caught off guard inside of the vault entrance by Brian when he went for the study door peek. So everyone from EG just have to remain a little bit more wary of their surroundings, especially when they surrender that study control to 3 attackers. You never know who's going to turn that corner, and a couple of members from EG inside of the objective caught off guard from that.
It's going to be a direct start once again here from OrgLess. See if they move into the first floor with as much straightforward aggression as we were seeing in the previous round. You've already got Crazy lurking around the site side here, trying to potentially open up the front door, but won't be seeing that right now. He is going to continue to roam around the building. It's Acid and a lot of the other team, I think, playing around the house right now, trying to look for options and, more importantly, trying to catch any aggressive spawn peeks that we might have seen from EG, but EG is holding back. Not really too keen on going for those at this point in the game, so we're not going to see much from them.
A little more emphasis on the far side clear this time around from OrgLess, as opposed to stacking up on that study balcony and making their way up from the basement stairs. This time starting over in Master and maneuvering their way through study and trophy. A little bit of contention here in the hallway immediately beside this double wooden barricade, and this will be a prime pinching point here for OrgLess as if they can clear out 90 and will have an immense control over any kind of potential flanks. And you see a member below through the holograms. I'm 90% sure that's Canadian on the flanks. Trades going back and forth on the shots at least, and Mo's going to come out worse for wear on that one as a peek from study, this time EG investing manpower inside.
Put the Claymore down on the red steps. There's still a lot of lurking presence on that first floor from EG, so it's a good position to try and make sure that they're not going to be caught off guard by that. And this is exactly what EG is looking to do in adjusting their performance from the previous round. Good control over this half of the floor now is gained by OrgLess. The statue room, the bedroom, it's all theirs for the taking right now, but it's moving it across the building to the other side and getting control of the sites. It's going to be the primary issue, and became the issue as well, even looking into the last round. This is where they were stalled a little bit once they got to the top of the main steps. They weren't able to get control of the classic hall until very late in the round when they were able to find that trade on a gotcha. It's going to be Brian that starts things off well this time. And Yeti with a quick rotate. Unfortunately, he's going to walk right into gotcha, giving him an easy trade to bring it back down into a 4v4.
Acid still holding the flank, so whether or not it's just the Vigil effect, the ERC showing up on the OrgLess drones, or there has been an impact from Canadian attempting a flank earlier on, the presence is known, and it's being a big distraction here for OrgLess. The Toxic Babe almost deafening and delivering Brian to the grave. Still have one outside of the window of Mo trying to hold on to the study and disseminate that control, but a self-stun from the team there will disorient Crazy momentarily. NVK on 5 HP, still trying to hold inside a study, but a great flank here from Gotcha. He's got 2 more lined up for him. It's one, but can't hit the second. Crazy down to 25 HP. We'll have to duck and dive with the diffuser. An immediate hop in here and shredded by the MP5 as a re-healed NVK peeks the corner. Crazy left alone will walk into 2 defenders on a cross angle, and NVK, sorry, Canadian, coming on the flank from downstairs. That late roam, the last possible second, will have the eventual effect and end the round, tying things up at 1-1.
So you were talking about at the end of the first round, just had a little bit more roaming presence here for EG and put fear into the hearts of OrgLess, and that seems to have worked perfectly as it takes them so much more time to actually move towards the sites and get ready for an execute. They were just holding themselves inside a statue in the main bedroom, watching from astronomy as well for so long into that round that they left themselves no time for the actual execute and just ran into crossfire setups that had been well established by EG earlier on into that round.
Well, you hear the crowd reacting to it. Ah, I'm sighing with you, crowd. I'm sighing with you. Swapping to the Mira is Gotcha, receiving a hailstorm of boos from the audience as well. It'll have an energetic crowd and a crowd that wants to see the chaos.
Not this time, guys.
Next time.
I'm sure someone will pick the chalk at some point.
Oh yeah, we'll see it. So it's a trophy and statuary defense now coming out from Evil Geniuses after being successful in their secondary attempt of Aviator and Games Room. They'll pull it back out. And very even spread so far from OrgLess as far as the picks go. A little top heavy there as Gotcha swapping off roles as well. NVK will now facilitate that Jaeger role and Gotcha onto the Mira. So you're seeing a mindset change up there as well. Just a mentality change for Gotcha, going from a Jaeger who was going for that flex roam at 90, trying to hold down a strong lynch point of the map. And now he's transferring into an anchorage role and letting NVK go out on that semi-roam. So Evil Geniuses staying dynamic, not trying to remain too stagnant as far as their role setups. And I got to praise them for that. I mean, when they've stayed stagnant in their role development, that's when we've seen them get picked apart multiple times. They keep trying to run the same thing into the ground. The more maneuverable they are, the more dynamic they are with their roles and operators as a team, the better they perform.
I think some people might question NVK being put back into that role right now, considering the somewhat questionable performance of previous lands. But you look back at the first map, he did pretty well, I would think, in most of his battles. He was able to trade pretty decently, in my opinion, comparatively to what we were seeing back at Rio, where he was just constantly getting picked at the beginning of the round, leaving really no room for him to find impact at all. It's a little bit different based on the first map, so I think they're going to feel a bit more comfortable to put him back into this type of position now.
Yeah, going to start things off. Skeleton keying open the bar wall that was partially reinforced, and Young playing inside the bar on the far side. So here again, we have Evil Geniuses investing control, manpower, and utility on the far side of the map to try and initiate a stall out here from OrgLess. A frag grenade not going to bounce off the wall. Yet he shakes his head in detest and lands in a few pre-fire shots towards the vault door, but he has no idea that Young is so close. A ripped out nitro cell as Yeti avoids in behind the bar will leave Young precariously positioned now behind the bar, popping up, weaving his head on the other side of the railing, and no shot's gonna land between the two. It's Potato Fest back and forth as they duck and dive on the crouch spam. Maneuvering back and forth, and neither of these teammates can, or opponents, can locate each other. Now right up against the reinforced wall is Young, still trying to take this engagement. Mo will get the first pick out of this somehow. Onto Gotcha, maneuvering his way in through Study. And Young still in this battle with Yeti on the outside of the wall.
Young's still just trying to figure out where he's at this point as well. Yeti, though, taking so much heat from the battle itself. You can see he's been brought down to under 25 HP now. So he's not going to be too keen on taking another peek, but we do have players moving through the barbed wire, but it's NVK set up and ready to take that battle. Misses the second player pushing in, but will rotate right back over to take out Mo. Will be blinded out as a result of it, but the damage is done. Even if they trade him, it's not going to matter. EG will still hold a strong advantage, given as well that we're going lower on time, but no, Yeti with a quick double kill, finding both NVK and Young, brings it right back under the control of OrgLess.
I'm assuming he hit that shot onto Young through the wall by accident, but he'll take that. Eddie unable to hit the shot onto the ADS, and now the storming of the gates coming out from OrgLess now, a little bit quicker than they have been in the past, but slower than the last successful round they had. Smoking out as the attempted plant coming out, and Brian's going to be fine. Acid will fall, Yeti will trade out Necrox for the plant, still being completed. A 1v2 for Canadian to work his way out of now as he sends up the steps, aiming in towards Masters. He finds the diffuser located now. Have to weave his way around the bomb site that was set up by his teammates to hold from anyone entering. On the opposite side of the wall is Yeti right around the corner. All it takes is one shot, and he'll land it, but a 100 HP Brian on the opposite side of the wall covering the diffuser. Has a mirror window to use, pre-firing back and forth, running low on time. Canadian tries to hit the plant. Oh my God! Brian, how do you lose that? Canadian! EG back up 2-1 on Villa.
Canadian was mid-diffuser animation and still somehow is able to recover a direct point-blank 1v1. I don't know how Brian manages to drop that one.
Troy. Oh, alrighty. Alrighty, Troy. Troy's feeling it right now. Troy is feeling it right now, and now consecutive victories on the defensive side for Evil Geniuses. They'll now be forced downstairs, and they're going to head to the living room and library. Not the most popular tertiary bomb site on Villa, but like I said, we've seen all 4 on Villa be utilized successfully. Evil Geniuses trying to hand back OrgLess a play to what they got on Oregon as far as the defensive stand successful.
Still going to be seeing a lot of active presence being taken by EG, however, considering the setup that they've taken into this one, but the 6th pick will change that a little bit, as we do see the castle coming into favor now as well to give them a little bit more room to play with within the sites, hopefully.
We'll be interested to see what their setup is, if they still invest a lot of control, because now you've got to worry about a pressure push from both sides. OrgLess have been utilizing the soft destruction on floorboards, trying to get that verticality on Villa for all 3 rounds now. And they've been doing a wonderful job of it because there's been no contention on the main floor from Evil Geniuses. Canadian's off on his roam, just trying to avoid everyone for as long as possible to come in at that pivotal moment. Now, EG, you've got to worry about a fight on 2 planes. Top floor, bottom floor, and you've got to worry about the floor above you being shredded open. Last time I remember seeing this anyway was from Cloud9 at DreamHack Montreal, and they just stuck everyone on site. They played the 5v5 trade-out game, and it worked well for them in back-to-back attempts. I'm interested to see if EG is going to replicate that or really invest off-site.
Yeah, with the operator setup, you would assume they're going to be pretty heavily leaning towards off-site play, considering with the lineup that they have. And at the moment, that seems to be the case, but we'll follow that a little bit more closely as we get further into the round, as everyone from OrgLess is moving together here to start off the round for themselves. It seems like they want to go for very active control onto the 2nd floor and just swiftly move in and take that to start things off for themselves.
Starting out as a mobile unit of 5, all pushing through together, not looking to get cut off and separated in a position where there isn't someone to refrag them. And now they spread out a little bit more as Mo move his way in downstairs on the 1st floor, in through kitchen. As Yeti pushes his way solo, he's got a drone with him, but no one really in close range. Be able to refrag should any engagement happen. And we did have someone on the defensive side of Evil Geniuses over inside of the trophy room, re-evacuated as soon as he heard the window pressure, and he's made it all the way back towards 90 now. And all it takes is Crazy to head upstairs and grab the footprints, but I'm not sure anyone on OrgLess is well aware of this.
So Crazy going to continue to move in. The droning capability to check out the site. I think for a few moments here, we're going to see OrgLess to be a little bit more curious about if they'll try to play that a little bit further onto the site, or if they're going to be trying to play roam heavy as well. I think that's what the droning onto the site is trying to figure out now for themselves. More so to watch for a flank from the basement as well, in case EG got really crazy and decided to play from down there as well to potentially open up a late round flank when the site execute happens. Spending a lot of time checking it out. That's what we've come to expect from OrgLess, however, throughout the course of these rounds. We've seen plenty of times where they've forced the execute less than 30 seconds or even potentially lower than that.
OrgLess this time around, not worrying too much about the verticality. They're going for an initial top clear, but all maneuvering their way downstairs for the most part, trying to amass themselves outside of the objective. The ADS catching up the frag grenade, lands in by Yeti, and shots go back and forth, but neither land. NVK still on the stairs, but Brian will hold things down. He'll finally win out a gun battle onto Canadian, just in the, probably not the round he wanted to. You still have NVK holding the south stairs currently, waiting for anyone to push into the hallway, but smokes descend into the objective. An onslaught coming through from OrgLess as they all rush through. The plant being stuck inside the Toxic Babe, right beside him. Young will shred through Crazy after Crazy got a kill on a neck rocks. You got 2 attackers for OrgLess on a low HP, but the man advantage slightly in their favor. The diffuser has been planted inside of the objective, right beside Young on the opposite side. Gosh, will get shredded by Brian on holding a flank, and NVK is down. It's all up to Young in a 1v4, a 1v3 now. Holding the stairs, gets 2! Lines him back and forth and right beside the diffuser, but he's got no help. Now stepping on for just a moment as a bait, trying to force anyone from OrgLess to take the angle on the corner. And he just misses the evacuation mass as he retreats into the haunted room. Pre-fires will give away his position, and pushing through, Young will fall. NVK already down in the process. and OrgLess will level things up once again, 2-2 on Villa.
It continues on this attacking side from OrgLess specifically to bounce back and forth as they are able to find a solid scoreline for them to play off of at minimum going into this second half, regardless of what the outcome of this final round will be, whether it'll be 3-2 or 2-3 against or for their favor. We'll find that out in a second, as it's looking like we're going back to the Aviator and Games Room once again for the final round of the half.
Good bounce back there from OrgLess when we talked about their momentum and their stamina. Well, it looked like EG fell a little flat in their stamina on the first map in Oregon, starting out trading rounds back and forth with OrgLess, but then losing 4 straight to round out Oregon. It's a good bounce back from both teams. For OrgLess to maintain their momentum, we talked about them being a momentum-heavy team, and they're keeping themselves in Villa here, which is a very good start. And Evil Geniuses sticking with them toe-to-toe so far on 2-2, but we also saw that on Oregon, where things eventually fell apart as soon as OrgLess went to the defensive side. In the last round of the first half, I'm looking to see Evil Geniuses once again set themselves up in a good position, up 3-2, to maintain this to push us to the coastline.
Yeah, unfortunately for EG, the worry for them isn't on this side. It's not on the defensive side. We've already seen, based on the first map, that they're able to hold against OrgLess toe-to-toe. It's that attacking side that they're going to be going on to in the next round that really worries me now, is that's where they just completely fell apart to the defensive setups with a clean sweep coming in from OrgLess on Oregon.
Setting up a barricade!
Map 1 in the favor of OrgLess, now tied at 2-2 on map number 2. They are 4 rounds away from dethroning, as Gotcha said, the community's Team USA, the unofficial Team USA. Well, to become Team USA, you have to make it through this bracket and the best teams in North America. And EG, with their backs against the wall, OrgLess as a newly developed team as far as the full 5. This is an impressive showing from them so far, just to start.
Certainly going to be the case, especially if they can continue to knock down EG and have even close to as strong of a performance on the defensive side of what we saw from Oregon. But it's again drone heavy at the start of the round for OrgLess here. Big map, a lot of places to check out, and as we've seen, a lot of active roaming presence from EG that they have to worry about. So it's about locking that down, figuring it out. Unfortunately, with the Vigilant play, it's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to find.
Canadian once again being the thorn in the side. Brian will spot him out as the ERC turns off, and a hard ping on to Canadian. He'll duck away and go prone, looking through the slot underneath a chair, waiting for anyone to maneuver in. You get any angle you possibly can. Shotgun holes coming in from above from neck rocks on the smoke, and Yeti just trying to vault up on top of the bookshelf, I imagine. He's having some difficulties with it, but we get a stat from CGG, and Spleck behind the scenes. Oh, he wanted to sledge up to the floorboards. That's what he was attempting. Roas is winning the opening duel battle 9-4. They've started out hot, and they need to continue to do so.
It's an interesting thing, because if I remember doing research properly back from Rio, that was a problem for EG, back at that event too. They were having a lot of problems with opening duels, and it was NVK usually at point for a lot of those. It was dropping it. He hasn't really been in that pivotal role for a lot of the attacking rounds this time, based on what we saw from Oregon. So they've changed up, and unfortunately, they're still ending up on the relative losing end of that battle. So it's definitely turning into more of a systematic problem for EG, as we've seen it surface at 2 lands now.
Gotcha and Mo got into a pretty hefty gun battle through a railing, and yet Gotcha still remains relatively well off in the HP department because of his Doc NVK, who boosted him back up, holding his angle, and he'll re-engage, holding those south stairs, and now everyone from OrgLess amassing themselves, coming in through the study balcony and coming up those south stairs, ready to go through and replicate what they attempted on the first round on the attack. Once again, this foothole opened up by the Hibana of Brian. Make sure that they've pushed everyone from Evil Geniuses out from behind bar, but we're in a 5v5 situation instead of a 3v3 as compared to last time. All the X-Kairos being shot off the wall, but Canadian will get the first kill on the flank, taking down Yeti. Another one from NVK as Acid will fall. Now this is a wonderful position to be in for EG, back in the driver's seat.
Certainly an unfamiliar one based on what we've been seeing before, but X-Kairos just not going to breach enough of a hole that they need to try and work with here. So unfortunately, issues will continue to surface for the attacking team, but no, it's crazy. Finally finding a kill. Unfortunately, he's going to get hit by the goo mine, so I'll have to back that up. Brian, in the meanwhile, will take a position to continue to crawl through, looking for anything they might be able to find, but it's not the case. Necrox and Young both find kills from the smoke, and Young with a direct spray. It's been brought down to only Mo, and he is also going to fall, giving Evil Geniuses a nice closeout. They will maintain the lead, but just barely at 3-2, and now they go onto the side where they failed to win a single round on the first map.
And identical to the first map of Oregon, EG take the 3-2 lead heading into the second half. So the defensive stand for Evil Geniuses to keep themselves alive in USN in game number 1. Not something I envision many fans thought of. Just remember, everybody on Twitter, you can use hashtag R6USN to join the conversation and talk to us about your predictions and your opinions on the games. Heading into the defensive side now for OrgLess, which they ran roughshod against Evil Geniuses on Oregon, look to replicate that, and they're going to be replicating Evil Geniuses' start anyway, starting on Aviator and Games Room as their first defense.
Yep, same start for them. Now the question becomes, is the defensive setup from... Oh, okay. They heard the disappointment from the first half, so now they're just trying to become the fan favorites, I think. That's the key to this. That's the strat.
Gotta love it. He sticks it too. The commitment from Yeti. I love it. Beautiful, beautiful from Yeti. With the shoddy too. Of course he does. Ripping open the wall. Lots of kill holes. Oh, I'm waiting to see this. This is going to be a fun time. And the most, I think, prolific and recent interrogation performed in Pro League was at the Paris Major by G2 against EG. Granted, it was on Bank and not Villa, but we might have another one for the highlight reels that keep getting put around.
We'll keep a close eye on Yeti for this round, folks, to keep you up to date if it's going to be a successful risk being taken or not here with the Cav pick. But it's always fun to see at minimum. And we will see the EG players come out onto the attacking board for the first time of this half. Let's take a look and see if their performance is going to be just as strong. And more importantly, the players here from OrgLess have brought just as strong of a defensive setup they did on Oregon. Obviously, again, Villa still being one of the newer maps, it's one that teams often will avoid. Trying to get prepared for and keep it in kind of a permanent map ban. But it's not necessarily the case for these guys. They seem confident enough to leave it into the pool for EG to pick. And now they're going to be tested on it.
Oh, possibly coming to blows outside the window as Yeti escapes through Bicycle, and they, again, a maze of rotations, whether it's hatches or kill holes or impact nades on soft walls. He's just turning the entirety of Villa into his own little playground to maneuver and possibly catch anyone from Evil Geniuses out on their own with no one to accompany them. The perfect situation for an interrogation to be pulled off, and I imagine Yeti's also going to try and avoid gotcha as much as possible, as the jig will be up quite quickly if he gets Jackal pinged out, but no, instead it was the pulse of Mo that got pinged out first off, but Gotcha's going to drone him out, and now they know that Yeti is on the board. As Cav trying to evacuate through the rotate hole he made for himself, and he'll rip to the opposite side of the map, trying to bait anyone to come and join him.
They're still trying to figure out where exactly his position's at too, as they're keeping the drone very, very close to the Cav on Yeti. Trying to make sure that there's not going to be much success found from the Cav in this round. Another drone going to get picked out by a no, but again, he also gets spotted trying to move past the red steps and up to the top floor.
Yeti not having enough success really to at least find an interrogation, although he has Canadian pushing through, but Canadian will shut down Yeti as he encroaches his way in through the trophy doorway. And now the dissension from Evil Geniuses upon the objective, and no possible interrogation coming to cut them down on the backside. A wonderful flank hold there from NVK onto Mo as that Nitrocell is taken off the board as well before being utilized.
Ultimately, kind of the expected outcome from the Caviar at the end of the day. Just not finding the impact that I think a lot of the fans would have hoped to see in this instance. But another kill for EG, and yet another one as well here. Brian will try to trade it back, but at the moment, we do have EG dominating on the attack, bringing it down just to Crazy. Diffuser has not been placed down just yet. Crazy's going to try his best to clutch this out, but as you can see, he's being completely overwhelmed inside of the weapons. But what? Holds one, actually, with the shotgun, completely blind. And it's a headshot as well against Necrox. Well done by Crazy, holding on his own, had an angle, but backed up too soon. The smoke goes in, he tries to push it, but he will get taken out by NVK. Evil Geniuses hold on to their lead, continue to push it now at 4-2, starting off the second half.
Well, it's their first successful attacking round in this best of three, and I must say they pulled it off quite excellently. A wonderful attempt there from Crazy as and Brian. They were running the dual shotgun and SMG loadout now, as we are on the most up-to-date patch. We're just waiting to see if we're going to have Acid join back if he can. We've got the timer paused. Never mind, we can wait for him to come back. So we'll just be on a quick delay until he joins back into the lobby. But yes, we have Mute with the SMG-11 now that Crazy was rocking, and Brian with the smoke shotgun and the SMG-11 rolled out.
Just trying to bring a little bit more utility to the table, a little bit more viability, I think, to that one. And it's in the Java, we've already seen it pick quite a bit, more so on our first map than we saw it here, but I think we've already seen it picked up a couple of times in the second map too. We are still going to see Aviator be the site to be played on, and we do have that fifth player back in, folks. So we've resumed the timer, and we're going to be going back in game now. Just a quick pause to reconnect one of our players from OrgLess, and we are back into the action, and you can see it before you here now So we'll see if any teams will utilize the 6 pick, and yeah, it's back to the Jackal though, however, so we've already seen that plenty of times.
Will Yeti do it again? Oh,
no.
Onto the Valkyrie. So, returning back to a state of normalcy will be OrgLess. They were looking really good in the first half. Obviously, that was only the first round of the second half, so they have plenty more chances to pull this back, as EG did, dropping the first round and then pulling back a run of a good modicum of success there. But EG now 2 rounds away from winning map number 2 and sending us to Coastline. OrgLess going to have to battle back and continue that momentum game we talked about for them to push themselves to the edge, to take it in a 2-0 fashion. Heading to Coastline, that's an interesting one. I think it's going to be a little more regimented, a little more structured than we've seen so far on these 2 maps. It's been very fluid, I would say, as far as structure goes for both of these teams. Coastline will probably have to, everyone will have to peel that back a little bit and try and stay a little more rigid as far as their strategies. It's been a good fight, but OrgLess, I really want to see that momentum kind of swing back in their favor now. We've seen them be a streaky team multiple times, and this is the perfect opportunity to do so. Don't even let it go to map 3. Kill it with confidence.
Another 4-round streak for them right now to bring them back into the lead and close out this second map for a 2-0 on land against EG. Certainly something to write home about, and definitely something to add to your VC deck when you're pitching to Org, because that's going to be for certain. But we do see, again, it's going to be droning will be the name of the game here to start things off specifically for EG, as really was the case for OrgLess as well. Such a big map, they have to spend quite a decent amount of the timer exploring the options before they commit anyone serious to the inside of the building.
So EG a little more spread out this time. We saw a large stack of bodies out towards that study balcony. 4 out of the 5 last time from EG, and this time a little more spread out as far as their initial set in. It's only been a minute in the first round, and looks like Evil Geniuses are targeting the same eventual push coming in through study and through that that aviator doorway. However, this is it's a little more spread, a little more map control as well from the clear. Last time it was just Canadian out on the clear, but now Gotcha holding 90 windows. Once again, this foothold being opened up by the Habana pellets to clear out anyone from the back of bar.
This next Kairos going off, clearing out the angle. Nothing will be found from it, unfortunately. Nothing to pick up at this point in the game. So EG will have to continue to hunt for that first kill. They are not looking to go in with the drive 5v5 to attempt to close this out in what would be a very explosive affair. We already saw that happen quite a few times on Oregon, however, so it's not completely out of the cards. And again, Young trying to figure out where exactly he wants to continue breaching that same wall or look for another option. It looks like he is going to continue to breach the same wall back behind the bars you were mentioning and open up a hole for his team to push into.
Mo holding 90 window, making sure that Gotcha is going to be holding down his possible rotation, as he could have a massive effect on that hallway towards the games room door. All he has to do is swing around the corner, and there goes Canadian on the opposite side of the map. So now he is the lone man on the roam clear, and it seems he's evacuated that position in that role. He's going to try and sprint over and try and join the rest of the team as they execute the site push. Acid, the lone man to hold down games room for right now, is Gotcha launching a smoke deep to the end of the hallway to disrupt Modiga's vision. Still got Acid close in the doorway, launching plenty of goo mines in. On the opposite side of the bar wall too, here come the Candelas and the storming in from Necrox through the Toxic Bay, but it'll get shredded. Acid and Brian tack on for 2, and it's a 5v3 quickly. Canadian takes 1 back in his favor, but they're still at a man deficit. 30 seconds tick down, and Mo still holding 90 will be influential on the flank. Canadian has to hold as the other 2 press in for the plan. It's NVK and Young trying to press through. They haven't even made their way into the objective yet. Still inside a study, and they're separated as well. An aggressive peek from Acid towards the opposite side doorway, but he'll get shredded from the L85. A Nitrous now to trade out Canadian on the flank watch, so Mo has perfect purview to come in from behind the bar. And VK pulling out a mine will hold the angle, but Mo on a flick will win it. Now Young takes down Mo on a trade. No time to plant. Has to get the frags. OrgLess pull it back. Only down around 4-3.
And they will close it out on the timer. OrgLess doing a fantastic job, and for EG, seemingly forcing the issue a little bit too early. We saw the run-in through the smoke grenades that had been set up into the aviation site. And unfortunately, just losing so many players early on as well. The side hall causing too many problems for them. Not able to get easy enough access to be able to pinch and knock out the defending setup from OrgLess, allowing them to hold on past the timer and close out on the round to bring them back into it. Now 3-4, continuing to remain at a 1-round deficit behind EG.
Good battle back from them, not wanting to be put on the precipice of a cliff, heading to Coastline and on match point, or map point, sorry, for Villa. Instead, cutting the deficit in half now, down 4-3, heading over to Trophy and Statuary, the most contemporary secondary bomb site. 6-pick from Crazy. So we've seen a lot of Mira being flexed in reveal phase, but then 6-picked off of it. It's most often been the Valkyrie that everyone's picking off to as well. Gotcha on the 6-pick, seemingly reading that though, and hopping over onto the IQ, try and spot the cams. The range adjustment on her electronics detector as well, being put back up to 20 meters will help, although Valkyrie seemingly put some work in the gym in the off-season and now can launch some Val cams pretty deep across the map. Villa doesn't have that many exterior cams that are super useful, but even inside the map, it can be dangerous, the range those Valkyrie cams have now in comparison to the electronic sensor on IQ.
Well, in the meanwhile, in case you did miss it, we changed out the sights and we're going over to the statue trophy room, I believe, for the 8th round of the map. Coming close to the end once again here. And unlike our previous map, it is continuing to go back and forth all the way into that second half. As neither team can find decent footing here on either their defending or attacking side. And the rounds continue to swing both ways as a result of that.
Yeah, Oregon was back and forth in the first half, like you said, and then OrgLess ran away with it. We're not seeing it this time around as EG took the first round in the second half to extend their lead. OrgLess battling back though, and I mean, all it takes is one streak, just like they had on Oregon, to finally push the knife into the back of Evil Geniuses. Dropping that first map can't feel good for them. I imagine they're trying to keep level-headed, keep their emotions in check, and we've seen from a lot of the players on EG, they can get very emotional on stage. And emotions are good to have when the momentum's swinging in your favor, but when things start to pull the tide against you, it's a dangerous game to play. You have to keep those emotions in check for the most part.
So EG primarily trying to push themselves in towards the bedroom once again, it would appear, to start off this round. It's still going to be held pretty heavily by these players before they end up moving in. And again, EG look for any options that would present themselves to give them easier access to the second floor, but much like the previous rounds, it's not going to be so much the case. You can already see Yeti taking on some active contention from the top of his back stair position. He's going to continue to watch. He knows that first floor has been a hot spot as well for pushes from EG. We can see Canadian ready to rush in on that now. He's going to move in towards the old office and start looking from the basement, actually, to give his team a little bit more control to play off of.
This is a portion of the map that we never really see get used on Villa. The wine cellar basement just seems like an adjunct piece of the map that never really finds much use, although Canadian going to be working his best, and they do have Yeti playing on the astronomy stairs at the bottom, flipping back and forth between holding the flank from below and Canadian crouch walking his way up. We can see it on the drone. Yeti not aware, turning the corner, and Canadian will shred him in the backside with the F2. He's got one flanker to worry about over by the east stairs, but for now it's a good start from Evil Genius to try and put themselves on map point.
So a quick walk around the basement does give a nice flank opportunity to EG, and once again a 5v4 to go into their favor. You see a little bit of smoke damage being taken as well there by Necrox as he has to go and really just take out a barbed wire as well, if I was looking at it correctly. So he loses half of his HP to knock out a barbed wire. In the meantime, Acid finds another pickup for the trade. Bryant catching one as well to take down Necrox. So this round quickly turns on its heels, back into the favor of our defenders, played by OrgLess.
Yeah, two defenders on very low HP though. Acid just slightly above 25 and Bryant possibly on 5. Canadian still pushing on the far side flank in a man deficit situation. Gotcha just rushing through the breach hole into the objective. Still plenty of time to work with here for Evil Geniuses to maneuver back and forth and get a plant down, but now Gotcha will regroup with Canadian as they both try to simultaneously push the study doorway. NVK pushing on the far side though. Gets 2 kills for the L85. The Nitro Cell will miss from Crazy, and on his evacuation up the stairs, will win it out with the MPX, leveling things at 2v2. Gotcha with the Fuser, and it's a flank from either side now as they try to retake the objective. Mo will down NVK to the wall, and it's just Gotcha left in a 1v2, 10 seconds completing the plant over on the opposite side by Statuary. Able to stick the plant just barely and back it into Master, has the breach hole to worry about, and they're both stacked up on these identical doorways. Good positions here for both these defenders, but Crazy turns away at the most inopportune time, now peeking the kill holes. He's got the defender right in his sights, and Gotcha wins it out in a 1v2 clutch situation. Evil Geniuses map point on Villa to extend us the coastline.
And unfortunately for OrgLess, just a complete lack of intel it seemed about where Gotcha was playing from and where the peaks were going to be coming from on him, as they constantly just end up going directly into his crosshair on both of those final kills to give him what he needs to close out in a 1v2. It seemed like that OrgLess had that on lock after the wraparound and the quick pick against NVK would have been just an easy job, considering how long Gotcha was spending trying to actually get the diffuser onto the ground as well. It took him easily 15 plus seconds, because I think he kept going on and off it due to the death of NVK, and he was questioning whether or not he might have been able to get him up and back into the round, but did not end up being the case. They were unable to figure out his location quickly enough and knocked him out in a beautiful 1v2 to push EG ahead once again, now onto map point.
map point in favor of Evil Geniuses to send us to Coastline. And I'm sure OrgLess do not want any part of that. They're going to try and close things out here on Villa, but should they do so, it will require overtime, as now with their backs against the wall, they'll have to win 2 consecutive on the defensive side. Not an impossible and insurmountable task by any stretch of the imagination. However, the way EG has been trading rounds back and forth, at the very least, it looks promising that EG may be able to come away with this just off of their back and forth momentum. It's going to take a strong push here from OrgLess just to get it to overtime.
Yep. Thankfully, it is only 2 rounds that are needed from them, though, so it's not a massive distance they'll have to crawl to get them back into it. Same site, once again, going to be attempted by them, the trophy and statuary rooms. Now we are going to see the battlefield play out for OrgLess as they try to keep themselves in this matchup. But unfortunately, their defensive setups for Villa just not proving to be as strong as what we saw back on Oregon, where they had a clean sweep against EG, if you missed it earlier on, and were able to take them down 6-3 without dropping a single round on their defensive half.
Well, the analyst desk pre-game talked about NVK needing to come alive, having a bit of a poor stretch. We've touched on it as well on the desk here. NVK currently leading the way on Villa with 11 frags. Definitely the event that you want to have NVK wake up on, and especially on the map you want them to wake up on. After dropping Oregon, see a resurgence from NVK back into the old NVK I think we're all very accustomed to. It's a good sight to see for Evil Geniuses.
Other players as well that had strong performances back at the Rio Pro League finals, like Canadian, also continuing to have relatively consistent performances on this LAN as well. So the individual side seems to be there for EG. It's just bouncing back and forth, a little bit hit or miss on some of the rounds, unfortunately, so it's not making for necessarily the cleanest affair, especially when you look on that attacking side back on Oregon. But they've cleaned that up very much so for Villa, and it does seem, in fact, that they know how to play this map at a minimum. We're looking to get that closeout to send us over to Coastline for our 3rd map. A lot of roaming presence once again early on here. This is the first opening seconds for OrgLess, but they have to pull it back relatively quickly due to the fast push into the study from EG.
EG been doing a good job just like that, containing the chaos, containing the aggression from OrgLess. We've seen it in a couple rounds get out of hand, but for the most part, Evil Geniuses, at least on Villa so far, have been extremely proficient at containing and locking down OrgLess into one section of the map, not letting them slip through holes like we saw on Oregon. However, crazy, all the way downstairs, there's a hole for you. Downstairs, we can drop to about 2 HP, but we'll take out the Ash Canadian, the first time we've seen him on Ash tonight, and he will fall without acquiring a pick. No Doc to heal up Crazy, though, so he'll probably require a reset on the objective to return, so that Nitro Cell play from below, unless Crazy wants to stay downstairs with about 2 HP, won't be in play, at least for the moment.
So rotate coming in now from Necrox over towards the more so the site side of the map for them to try and play off of with him. Maybe going to be trying something from the windows, and that looks like it'll probably be the case. Try and give his team a bit more easier access. They need to keep him alive for the actual take, though. His utility on the Captau in general from EG has been severely underutilized, and there's something that they did not want to have to deal with here. There is going to be a castle panel in the way on the side window. Wants to try and move it directly instead.
They've lost their Ash, so using the Hibana X Kairos to pop up in the castle barricade, as well as a portion in the wall. Looks like they got shot off. Either that or Young just didn't, he just didn't even commit to shooting them. Pre-lined it up and then never shot, so now he'll open up the same kill hole they had before they breach in. And impact tricking coming out from Acid. Can't tell if it got any of the pellets. It looks like it was a full 6-pellet detonation on the wall, and Young has just moved in to try and initiate the plant in the master doorway. The Toxic Babe will tick away, but Young will be able to stick this. At the very last second, he'll get the diffuser off, but Brian with a double kill. It's all down to Gotcha, and Necrox now in a 2v5. Plant down in a good post-plant situation, but just the manpower is going to be an onslaught, a wave coming at EG. Nitro Cell detonating, not going to land, but kill holes to the floor will down Gotcha. Now last man alive is Necrox in a 1v5. They all come swarming through, but the defuse is being stuck in the doorway, just missing the shots now, trying to pull out the crossbow. He's getting bolt will land in the corner, but it's not doing any damage to Acid. He'll be able to stick this in the corner. Necrox on 2 HP, can't even commit to peeking much longer. Mo will finish it off, and OrgLess stave off elimination on Villa. Only 1 point away from pushing it to overtime.
One more round separates potential overtime, which could still end the series, mind you, considering OrgLess's lead. And of course, Evil Geniuses still being able to push forward into a map 3 on Coastline, something that I'm sure they definitely want to accomplish here, considering their confident stride coming into this tournament. but it may come to a short end if we can see OrgLess complete this comeback, and they've done a great job of doing that. A lot of smaller mistakes being made from EG, most notably giving up 2 players due to the push from Brian that happened to attempt to stop the defuse. Losing both of those players there was definitely an unideal situation for EG to have to deal with, and left them with just not enough manpower to continue to hold on to the site post-plant.
It was an interesting decision to just try and full send everyone in through the doorway to cover the plant, but there just wasn't enough control as far as crossfires. There were so many angles that OrgLess were holding from far off that just had no congestion. There were no breach holes in the triple panel wall in towards statuary and where you can look over the donut hole in the Map2 trophy. There was no congestion on anyone just standing up and peeking at Young, who was crouched over typing on a laptop. It was an easy take for them, and it actually turned out to be the toxic babe from Brian that would do the finishing blow, but there were so many instances in which EG were just stuck in doorways. They were funneled into one location to try and protect that diffuser, and
losing Canadian early on in the round certainly didn't help them either, with Hash getting knocked out there. A lot of soft breach potential, just immediately gone, and even had to waste one of the X-Kyruses on one of the castle barricades by the side window too, so that could have potentially opened up another opportunity for them to breach some of the reinforcements of the wall and give them a little bit more crossfire potential at post-plant, but just lost Canadian within the first couple seconds of that round, trying to make a push on the first floor, and completely killed their soft destruction.
Speaking of soft destruction, Brian ripping open the kill holes on the floor. Make sure you can't drop a thermite charge on the bottom floor panels. That's been talked about ad nauseum on most pro league casts, but just a refresher for anyone who isn't aware. If you place a thermite charge on the ground outside of those reinforced walls, the bottom portion of the reinforced wall it's next to will also be blown open. So those kill holes help prevent the placement of the thermite charge on the floor in front of the wall. Far side take, looking to be the strategy for Evil Geniuses, is 4 amassed themselves in the windows outside of the bomb site they just tried to attack. Just got NVK on the flexing position, and Young now making his appearance on the Montaigne. We've seen it once with Gotcha so far in Oregon, and now the Shield Master will make a return to Montaigne, and they're trying to flush Mo out of study as he's being pinged out and being pre-fired at multiple times over.
Young will continue to move past Master into the bathrooms now as he continues that sweep past Astronomy at this point. He's got the drone support coming in from Gotcha, and it seems like he has successfully flushed out most of OrgLess that were sitting on this side of the map defending. Nice hard ping does come off onto one player, however, so I would imagine Gotcha's going to start heading that way relatively soon now that they've got the intel, so they can try to flush those guys out of position and just force them all back into the site.
Good drone work here and good patience coming out from Evil Geniuses. Yeti still holding 90 with the ACOG. A trade of shots going back and forth between Crazy and NVK. And Crazy comes out a little worse for wear in that, but still with his life inside the objective. Not a bad place to be, especially if Yeti can make it back and heal him back up. Yeti more focused now as he's been flushed out of his 90 position. More focused on healing himself up and keeping himself alive. As you got 3 stacked now inside of Aviator from the side of OrgLess, all contesting this B-bomb doorway. It leaves Mo and Acid to try and lock down the far side inside of Games Room.
So the drone presence and the Montaigne presence coming in from the attacking team played by EG. It works. It's forced them all back into the site. Now they actually have to get the site against pretty much the full team stack that's been thrown up by them here. Speaking of things being thrown out, smoke grenade going to be tossed down. The gas grenade going to be thrown out by the smoke on the inside of the site. And we'll hope to delay the Montaigne from moving in. It was a little bit out of position for that, but thankfully it split up most of the attack and accomplished that goal anyway. Yeti will start things off, however, finding a pick from the other side closer to the study as Necrox is found trying to sneak in the late round.
Young still trying to push his way through with Diffuser as that shield. Gotcha and Canadian joining him now as they weren't able to get the vault wall open. And that's the linchpin of the defense here. NVK will take down Yeti though. A solo push in as that shield from Young, and he's down on 5 HP. A team kill though from Acid. Not a good look for OrgLess now. A trade back and forth, and now it's all down to Crazy and Acid to try and hold out. Young is either on 1 HP or down to cross. He'll get down now. NVK will be shredded from the UMP, trying to push him through the B-bomb door. Young is down, so it's all up to Canadian now in a 1v2 to secure map number 2 and pushes to map 3. Instead, the peek's coming out. The dodging of the bullets by Crazy in behind the bar. He's still trying to confirm the kill onto Young. He'll do so, and Canadian with 10 seconds left needs to push in with no diffuser, has to get both frags, and Acid will clean it up from the vault. OrgLess on back-to-back rounds will send us to overtime.
Despite being pushed back to the site, despite being droned out every single position they tried to lurk on in that round, and despite being just forced outright by the Montaigne back into the site into a full 5-man hold, they pull it off. They're able to close it out, and despite the team kill as well, they still managed to hold on. Very well played by OrgLess to bring it back now to 5-5 and send us the distance to potentially decide this series right here, right now on Villa.
Well, OrgLess will be heading to the defensive side to start things out in overtime. They'll swap to the attack once, and if necessary, if they don't win both of those rounds, they'll head to the defense once more. And it's been a pretty evenly split game back and forth. We saw a 3-2 advantage come out for the defensive side of Evil Geniuses, and then a 3-2 split on the defensive side for OrgLess. So in total, it's a 6-4 split in favor of the defense. So a slightly defender-favored maps between these two teams. However, I don't think it's as much of an influence, even though it is only a 3-round overtime.
Well, let's take a look here. See if EG can recover once again. Already had to see them do it once. Beginning of this second half here, after a little bit of a back and forth start, there was the question whether their attacking side was going to be impactful enough to keep them in this game, considering the poor play from Oregon. It seems like on Villa, that attacking side from EG is much stronger, much more formidable to play against, but not formidable enough to close out at 5-3. As we saw OrgLess make the comeback, tying us up at a full 5-5 series. Now the first to 7 will be able to take control of, in OrgLess's case, the series, and in EG's case, the map to send us the coastline.
Attackers recovered the bomb defuse.
If there's ever a crunch time for Evil Geniuses to focus up, it is now. And OrgLess throwing a wrench in the plan as well. Looks to be defending not Aviator and Games Room, our primary bomb site that we've seen for the most part throughout this entire map. Instead, they elect to go to Statuary and Trophy to begin things in overtime. Quite the confident play there, I guess you could say. Abandoning the most traditional and proven successful bomb site in this particular match and heading to the secondary bomb site. It could be enough to throw EG off. We've seen now Canadian on the Ash again, and he was the first one to die the last time they attacked this site. And EG's apparently only resort, at least they thought so, was to dive in and try and plant 5v4, and just didn't have the manpower to try and hold a post plant.
It is a bit risky when you consider the fact that the round was won there by OrgLess, more so by mistakes from EG than necessarily good play that we saw from OrgLess. They were still able to close it down, but that was because EG was so limited due to the loss of their soft destruction in the early round, having to use the X-Kairos to break down one of the castle barricades, and then not having it available to try and break down the triple wall that was set up right next to their plant position to give them more of a crossfire play, as you had been mentioning in the post round for that one. So we'll see if they can pull off the same thing, if they're able to limit the utility use, more importantly the soft destruction use by EG in the early round here once again. They can certainly find some impact and might be able to close out once again, but if not, EG will have free reign with all this.
Once again, Yeti playing those astronomy stairs as the Jaeger, but Canadian will not be making his way up through the wine cellar basement. ADS is 2 of them stacking the astronomy stairs, and the third one also stopping the projectiles coming in through the bathroom doorway. You still have Yeti holding, waiting for anyone to make their way up to the basement stairs, as Canadian did last time. And Gotcha's made his way into the bathroom. He jumped in once, missed a handful of shots towards Yeti and jumped out, but now he'll firmly ascertain some control inside of the bathroom with Yeti and Brian pinching out from inside astronomy.
Meanwhile, Brian's going to continue to hold on the inside. We're going to see one player end up dropping down. Yeti will be grouping up with him as well. So both the Pulse and Yeti have now gone downstairs to the first floor, going past Skylight over towards the red stairs. There's the yellow ping going on to one of the players, and in a moment here, Pulse should be able to easily spot these guys out for the first floor with the 2-man team pushing. They're going to be contested from the other side, and it's a successful kill coming out. The trade, however, not to be seen just yet, as EG continue to find impact, and it's all from Canadian. The double kill from him. Another kill picked up as well by Gotcha. Our defenders now down to only 2. It's Mo and Brian trying to bring this back here now. NVK already able to knock out Brian outright, so it's all on Mo in a 1v4. He can't get it done. Canadian gets his 3rd kill on the round, and Evil Geniuses will start out overtime in their favor, going up 1-0. Only 1 more needed for them to close out the map now.
Evil Geniuses winning the rare attack onto this bomb site on the far side, and we'll leave that to the analysts to break down whether or not that was the right play to make or not, heading to Trophy and Statuary. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, you look at possibly the most successful bomb site in this map, and maybe on Villa as a whole, in Aviator Games Room, it doesn't get elected to be used by OrgLess. They lose the round, and now EG start off their defensive portion of overtime on Aviator Games Room, looking to close us out and send us to map number 3 of Coastline. OrgLess had a shot, man. They had a shot at the throat of EG, and it seems to be slipping away momentarily.
Another 6-pick coming in as well. Clash going to be brought out now, swapping from the Pulse. Keep the shield in play on defense.
Gotcha's been all over the place as far as roles. We've seen him in a breach role, we've seen him in a shield role, we've seen him in a flex role, we've seen him in support. He's been all over the place as far as roles, and I think that's just a testament to Evil Geniuses' dynamic role play. They do not stay stagnant on one particular role, all 5 of them. They maneuver between each other and they pick what is best for the team composition. I guess in stark comparison to a team like OrgLess, who does have these players who stay on the same roles round after round after round, Evil Geniuses have been remaining quite dynamic and spinning the wheel and seeing what sticks to the wall. Gotcha on the Clash could be pretty influential. We haven't seen a lot of Clash be all that successful lately after a few tweaks to her shield utility, but a shield nonetheless on defense, a shield in general will kill a lot of time and suck in a lot of that utility necessary to take her down off the board. It's going to be a big time suck, and with your back against the wall, time is what you need on your side if you're OrgLess.
And it looks like she's going to be playing, at least at the start of the round, exactly where I kind of would have expected Gotcha to go, over towards the classic hallway to hold off a more direct push from the lobby, if that's what we end up seeing from the attacking side on OrgLess right now. However, it's going to use a little bit for the window peek too. We might see a bit of a conflict between Acid and Gotcha over the next few moments if that ends up coming to a broil. But still early days, of course, still over 2 minutes on that clock. And with the attacking team, OrgLess just getting themselves onto the board a few seconds ago. I think we're still a little bit further away from seeing that come to a boil.
Well, OrgLess once again returning to their fruition of verticality. Lots of shots being laid in from the skeleton key of Yeti to rip open the floor. Not going to try and use his special vault tricks. Canadian has made his way downstairs, though. He's in bike hallway, pushing his way into the living room now, and he's just missing the angle as Yeti is tucked in behind that bookshelf. Just out of purview of Canadians, 416. Another roll swap there for EG, and the rest of OrgLess have been pushing in through study and trying to successfully get the first stages of their site execute underway.
Well, Bryant will likely be leading the charge here for OrgLess. And of course, the spot onto the Clash will be immediately apparent as they try to move down this hallway. The ping to correspond to it. They know it's there now, so it's just about dealing with it at this point. We do see, however, a little bit of a self-stun coming out from Acid there as he tries to move in and knock out the Clash from the equation. Quick little X-Kairos will be used after the Gershmat charge is used on the lifeline. Allow for access here, but problem again is going to be the ever-present position from that Clash down the hallway, something that Acid has not been able to restrict just yet. There's a second player coming in, but it looks like Acid realized it. Problem is he's going to get forced away. The shield's now up in his face, and is the damage as well from the shield itself. So this is proving to be a little bit hard to deal with for OrgLess, unfortunately. It might become the obstacle that stops them from successfully taking this site ultimately if they can't figure it out soon.
All that utility and all that time dumped into trying to bring Gotcha off the board, and he's still at 100 HP. No one's dealt any damage so far in this round, and with 37 seconds left, the asphyxiating bolt lands directly on Young, and he'll have to bail out momentarily, but there's still no progression of sight push coming out from OrgLess. Asphyxiating bolts and now smoke bolts coming out from Crazy to try and disrupt visibility inside of the objective. Yeti makes his way, but Canadian will shut him down on these stairs. Acid will trade out NVK, and it's all going to come to a flurry now as Young will drop Mo. Trying to rush in through the study, and now a complete rotate from OrgLess as they try to descend through the hallway. They've got Gotcha slowing them down. Canadian will fall at the hands of Acid, but the double slowdown from Gotcha in the hallway. There's nowhere to go for OrgLess. Just on a spray into the back of the site. Acid makes his way behind. A double kill for EG. Going for 3! Young sends EG to coastline!
And so EG get it done. The last second pick switch over towards Clash ends up being a stroke of genius, really, for EG, as the players from OrgLess just do not know how to get past that. They cannot figure it out. So a clean sweep 2-0 from EG in overtime solidifies the second map into their favor, and that means we are going to a map number 3 on Coastline here at our first Eastern Conference map.